Hey everybody, what's going on? It's the Spencers, and we are back. Y'all, we had a fun time the last
Oh
couple of
my
years.
goodness, yes, yes.
Man, everybody's talking about the size matter. I hope that helped you to figure out the size is not what it's all about. It's about becoming one. But tonight, we're going to be talking about sacred sexuality. We are your hosts, Dr. Stacy Spencer.
And Rhonda Spencer.
And tonight we're going to go on a journey to talk about sacred sexuality, recognizing the divine in each other. It's not just about a physical activity, it's about a spiritual connection. Come on in, check it out.
Just takes a little effort, we can work it out. These things go hand in hand, know what I'm talking about. Can we have one without the other, one without the other, yeah. One without the other, one without the other, yeah. We made it through the test, strengthening love and sex. We made it through the test, strengthening love and sex.
Hey everybody, we are back and we are talking about sacred sexuality. It is so important that couples realize that sex is not just about physical, it's about the spiritual. And for some reason or another, especially in the church, we have tried to take sexuality and make it something separate from spirituality. But sacred sex is about recognizing the divine in each other.
Right.
The light in me sees
the light in you.
The God in me sees the God in you. We are made in the image of God. When
Right.
God created Adam and Eve, he created them in his image, which meant that we are to be like God.
Okay.
God also created sex. Have you ever wanted to take your love life and marriage to another level?
Ladies, do you want to bring romance back to your relationship and get that old thing back?
We got you. It's time for our second annual Naked and Unashamed Marriage Conference called Love in the Bluff on June 7th through the 9th at the beautiful Hyatt Centric Hotel overlooking the Mystic Mississippi River. We will be leading one of the most exciting and engaging marriage retreats you've ever experienced.
At Love in the Bluff, we will be teaching you and your spouse how to be, building intimacy. We want to show you how to restore that erotic connection between you and your spouse.
L is for liberating fantasies. How do you ask your spouse for the love you've been dreaming about?
And the U is for unveiling communication. We want to teach you how to turn towards each other and not away from each other.
The F is for fueling desire. We want to teach you some tantalizing techniques to put fire back into your lovemaking.
And the other F is for fun and playfulness. We are going to have some interactive playtime to teach you how to enjoy each other and rediscover how to pleasure your spouse. All of this will take place in the Bluff City at Hyatt Centric Hotel, where we have a block of 20 rooms.
There will be a rooftop party that Friday night, and we will be dancing the night away. And then when it's all over that night, we're going to send you back to your rooms for some playtime with the goodie bags that we're going to give you after registration.
Now, on that Saturday morning after breakfast, we will have our time of work and play as we go over new material to take your love making to higher heights.
On Saturday night, we will be attending one of the most amazing showcases of R&B talent in the Mid-South area. We've partnered with 901 Live, hosted by Dr. Derek and Darkest Pain. It's going to be amazing. Y'all know Rhythm and Blues started in Memphis.
Then on Sunday after checkout, we will have brunch at Sugar Grits. It's a time to take your love on top and meet us for Love in the Bluff. This retreat will sell out, and you can go secure your spot today by going to drstacylspencer.com and register for Love in the Bluff.
We hope to see you and your spouse in Memphis for our 3-day Naked and Unashamed Marriage Retreat. We will see you on top. And for some reason or another, we have falsely divided the sacred from the secular. I'm reminded that when Jesus was crucified and the curtain that was in the temple separating the holies of holies from the common area was torn from the top to the bottom. And I think we need to tear down some curtains tonight and talk about sacred sexuality.
Let's do it.
So, babe, when you hear sacred sexuality, what are you thinking when you hear that term put together, sacred sexuality?
When I hear that term, sacred sexuality, it's more
is bringing into, okay, how is God incorporated, in this? Where is the spiritual aspect of sex with sexuality? Where does it all begin? How do we really define how would you define sacred sexuality?
Sacred sexuality is not just about pleasure.
Okay.
It's about making a connection. And the reality is that when two people make love and become one, their spirits are converging.
Right.
Their souls are exchanging. We talk about soul ties. There's a spiritual exchange. Energy is transferred. That's why when you make love, this sacred act, you better be sure that you are connecting with the right person who has the right spirit, because you're going to become one. He talked about, can a man lay down with a prostitute and not become one with her? Because whoever you make love with, you become one with them.
Right. You get a part of them in a sense.
Yeah, you take a part of them with you.
Right.
So if you got a large body count, chances are you've also got some spirits that have been attached to you. So it's important. The beautiful side, on the flip side of that, is that when you do connect with your covenant partner, it's a wonderful way to exchange energy,
Right.
to become one. The Bible says, for this reason, a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Watch this. Leave and cleave. The word cleave means to become one. It's a fusion, right? It's when two people unite and they exchange souls. The Bible tells us to love the Lord your God, what?
With all your heart, all your mind, all your strength.
All your soul, all of that, all of those different dimensions. Love is just not physical. And I think that's where people get messed up, is they think that sex is just a physical act.
Right.
It's much more than that. It is a sacred moment of exchange between two people. We become one. We bond with one another. It was funny. We were in Marshall's the other day, and you were looking to your right at an outfit, and I was looking to my left at an outfit. And in my mind, I was thinking, I think my wife would like these little booty shorts. She would like these little shorts. And she's like, and I said, babe, what do you think about these? And you said, oh, I was looking at the same thing. And I said, that's because we are what? One. We've been making love for 30 years, and it shows, because watch this, when you make love with your spouse, it should be more than just a physical sensation. I think the problem with men is that we are only thinking about ejaculation. Ejaculation seems to be, and we have confused ejaculation with orgasm.
Right.
Orgasm and ejaculation are two separate things. Ejaculation is sometimes an involuntary response to the stimuli of great lovemaking, and the man gets to the point where he can't control it anymore, and he releases his semen into his wife. But really, an orgasm is about the pleasure of the dopamine release in your brain, and it sends waves and shock waves into your body and your spine, because you get this flooding sensation of euphoria. But that is separate from ejaculation. And if men could ever learn the spiritual aspect of making love, those orgasms can be multiple. We can experience multiple orgasms. There's a book called The Multi-Orgasmic Couple, and it talks about how men can delay their ejaculation to experience a greater orgasm. What about for women? What makes sex a spiritual experience for a woman?
I think what makes sex a spiritual experience for a woman is that it's more total body. In a book I was reading was saying how when we're formed in our mother's womb, that we start off with our organs look the same. And the only way that, because a man has a penis, and that's how they transfer semen into our body, but we all start out the same way, but meaning that we should, as women, we feel a total orgasm. Our body is totally encapsulated in what's going on. It's just not the act of, oh, my husband is coming inside of me, but it's the act that starts even before the bedroom, the act that starts in the kitchen, or where, depending on your love language, how things start that's how we as women see lovemaking.
I think the sacred part for me, your bedroom should be your sanctuary. It is a sacred space. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 says that sexual desires are strong, but marriage is able to handle all those sexual desires. There are some things that need to be shared verbally
Right.
in the bedroom that once it is established that this is a safe space, I can tell you, I like it when you rub me here.
Right.
I like it when you give me head. I like it when you go slow and I can feel all of your ridges at the opening, because a lot of the nerve endings are right there in the opening of the vaginal canal, and we're so busy to rush past that thrusting that we don't take our time to look deep into the eyes of our loved ones. We were laughing earlier about, is it really feasible to look into each other's eyes? Y'all look at me. Listen, when you're making love, don't rush past gazing into each other's eyes. It's a sacred moment. The Bible says that eyes are the window to the soul. Now, when I mentioned this to you, you kind of chuckled.
I did. I laughed.
Why'd you laugh?
Because if you really think about, depending on the position, and if you're missionary where you're face to face, it's kind of hard to look at each other in the eye. And so I'm thinking,
What's hard about it?
Well, what's hard about it is really trying to concentrate or really be in the moment when you see your partner's face, and it just, for me, it's easier to close my eyes because I don't want to get dizzy. So it's just that position.
I make you dizzy.
It's the movement.
The motion in the ocean.
Yes.
I remember a couple of years ago we went to Jamaica and we did our marriage retreat, and the exercise we gave the couples was for them to go back into their bedrooms and to make love looking at each other's eyes. You remember that?
I do.
And we had one couple that came back, and the young lady, she said, it was the first time I made love to my husband with the lights on and looking into his eyes, and I began to weep because I never felt worthy of anybody looking in my eyes.
Oh, wow.
And it was such a heart-wrenching moment for me to know that somebody didn't feel worthy of that kind of adoration. And I think there is a worship aspect. Not that you idolize your spouse, but worship in the sense of giving adoration. Prince had a song back in the day, I truly adore you.
Right.
You are my heart and mind. Oh, I love that song. Y'all, as a matter of fact, you might need to pull it out and play it while you're making love. It's got the Hammond organ in it. It feels very churchy, but it's a love song. And really, praise and worship songs are love songs to God. And love and love making songs are worship songs for us.
Right.
I believe that we as men need to know how to worship or to adore our wife's yoni. I think it's a sacred act when you go down and you kiss it, or you stroke it, or you take your time. You notice all the folds and all the delicacies of her body. It's like a flower, like a lotus blossom. And the thing about a lotus blossom is that when you water it, it opens up slowly. And I think a woman, when you worship her anatomy, spend time adoring your wife's body, it opens up. What about for you all?
While you were talking, I kept thinking about the word sacred. You know, sacred sexuality. How does that play in with a woman? Taking the word sacred, meaning that when you get married, that you make that covenant between your family and God, that you two are going to be faithful to one another. And I think it plays a very big part when you're with your husband or you're with your wife, and that is your sacred space. No one else can come into that space. No one else can come close to coming into that space, which makes it even more special because this is a gift that I'm giving to you and a gift that you're giving to me.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give your gift away.
Yeah. Somebody was commenting about what we stated about oral sex on one of our podcasts, and they were like, it's nasty and you could catch a disease and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Hey everybody, it's Spencer stopping by. We got some exciting news. Eden Circle is back open. That's right. We have a inner circle program that helps you to take your marriage to the next level through some personalized mentorship. There's two things that are needed in order for your marriage to make it. You need some great coaches. Rhonda and I have been married for 30 plus years, and we want to share with you some of our experiences. And then you need a community of people who are trying to stay married. Wouldn't it be great to share ideas and to build stories together with other couples who are trying to make it? Baby, tell them the benefits of being in our circle.
Some of the benefits of being in our circle is, like Stacy said, the mentorship, the counseling. We have master classes, quarterly meetups. We have fun together. We teach different techniques because we believe in the sanctity of marriage and we want to keep married people married.
And if you're going to be married, you might as well have fun doing it. We want to help you to show you how to have fun, how to take your lovemaking to the next level, your communication, and to help you in spots when you get stuck, to help you get out of those ruts by coaching and mentorship. So simply go to, listen, if you want to be a part of this circle, go to www.theedencircle.com and register today. We want you in our inner circle. If you are with your covenant partner and you both are faithful and you know your sexual screening is clear, a woman's vagina is cleaner than a person's mouth because a woman's vagina cleanses itself. It's a very sacred space. And if you use the analogy of a sacred space, like in the Old Testament, when the priest went behind the holies of holies, he was the only person ordained to go back there and administer the rites in front of the presence of God. Your spouse
Is the only
one ordained to go behind that curtain in that sacred space. And when there's fidelity in that marriage, everything should be open game in terms of exploration. The tasting, the touching, it's all good. I'm reminded when Peter was on top of the rooftop and he had this vision and this sheet was being lowered down and all these creepy crawly things were on the sheet, and God says to Peter, rise, kill, and eat. And Peter says to God, I have never eaten anything unclean. And then God says to Peter, don't call unclean what I've made clean. Notice it came down on a sheet. Our sheets are clean. The marriage bed is undefiled. Y'all use that sacred space to decide what you gonna eat. Boy, I just said something. Y'all got to use that sacred space to decide what you gonna eat, and what y'all agree upon in your bedroom is between y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's sacred. It's sacred space.
Right.
And you need to be able to enjoy that sacred space. What are some spiritual practices that people can do in sacred sexuality?
Well, spirituality is at the core of sacred sexuality. You know, we adore each other. So our spirituality plays a very huge component. Breath work, meditation, even erotic massage.
Talk about that. What is that?
Erotic massage is if you don't have a massage table at home. You want to give some examples?
Yep.
So we can just...
Hey everybody, it's the Spencers. We're stopping by because March is about Black Marriage Month on March the 26th. And I think it's so important that we fight for our marriage. What's one of the ways we can fight for our marriage?
It's so important that we fight for our marriage because the marriage unit is so important. And when the marriage is strong between a husband and wife, it just bleeds over into every aspect of our lives as children, and for our children, for our society, and it is the foundation of everything.
And in order to strengthen that foundation, we have put together a marriage retreat called Love on the Bluff, June 7th through the 9th. Why are we telling you so early? Because we've blocked out 20 rooms, and the registration is due on April 15th. In order to lock in your room to fight for your marriage, we need you to go register right now at drstacyelspencer.com, because your marriage is worth fighting for.
You know, you can lay up an old blanket down, warm up some coconut oil or some massaging oil, and put your husband on the blanket and just softly palpitate on his back and massage his back, massage his whole body, not just his back. And so set the ambiance by lighting candles, soft music. And so that becomes a whole vibe. So make it a whole vibe. You're spending that one-on-one time exploring one another, enjoying one another. And before you know it, if it's agreed upon, you're making love.
And let's go a little bit deeper with that. You got to set the atmosphere.
Right.
The room temperature should be what?
Should be comfortable without having clothes on.
Right. So
Right.
around 74,
Yes.
75 degrees. You don't want to be, come on, baby, lay on the blanket. And they're like,
It's cold or too hot.
You want it to be warm. Light you some candles, some scented candles like lavender and chamomile. Get you some scented lotion, massage oil, heat it up. We like coconut oil.
The reason I said coconut oil, because as women, a lot of scented lubrication or oils will agitate us.
Throw off your pH
Right.
balance.
So we don't want to mess up the pH, because if we mess up the pH, that's going to mess it up for you
It
guys.
means no goodies for us. Y'all better take care of that thing. So that massage oil, like the other night, I laid the blanket down in front of the fireplace. I told my wife was complaining her back was hurting. And so I said, all right, I'm going to take care of my wife. So I got my little coconut oil, one part coconut oil. I had some other Chinese oil for the therapeutic, to really get some heat going on her body. And I think I'm doing a wonderful job. I'm using my technique. I'm putting my forearm in her back. I'm cupping her buttocks, with the C shape right here. She's like, oh, that feels great. And then I'm rubbing her legs, making sure that I'm going up because the blood flows up towards the heart. I'm doing all of that. I'm rubbing her feet. Then I switch over. I get the other side, and I'm using my forearm to get that middle back. I'm cupping her buttocks. I'm rubbing her legs. I'm massaging, and then my back started hurting. And it was supposed to be all about her, but my back started hurting. And I said, "Will you rub my back too?" And then after it's over with, she's gonna tell me it was supposed to be about me.
One, we did not set the intention. So the intention was skewed because I thought it was about me. And so I had my mindset, and you just sitting there like, what about me? I'm like, come on, boy, come on, let me
And
get
so
you.
let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that. When you are getting ready to have sacred sex and you're trying to set the atmosphere, it's one thing you got to determine: who is the giver
And who's the receiver?
and who's the receiver, right? A lot of times we don't stop and set the intention about who's giving and who's receiving.
Right.
It's so important. So there's a 3-minute game, 3-minute exercise we do with couples, and it's called how would you like me to touch you for 3 minutes? And the other person says, I'd like for you to touch my back for 3 minutes. Now, who is that for?
It's for the person receiving it.
It's for the person receiving. Okay, now here's the second part of that question. The second part of that question is, how would you like to touch me for 3 minutes? Now, who is that for?
It's for the person that was originally giving the touching.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to be intentional about who's the giver, who's the receiver. Now, in my example, I should have asked my wife, how would you like for me to touch you for 3 minutes? And she would have said, keep rubbing me and don't be asking me to do nothing.
Next time, baby.
Next time.
Yeah.
But it's that intentionality. And for me, one of my goals is I want us to become a multi-orgasmic couple and not just be about orgasm. Lovemaking is just not about orgasm, but it's the journey toward orgasm.
Right. And I think a lot of men make that the goal. If I reach this, if I ejaculate, then that's considered what I think is an orgasm, and I've done my part. But that's not it. It's so much more than just that.
And on top of that, once a man orgasms or ejaculates, that refractory period, it takes longer the older you get. So for that reason, men, we have to practice the discipline of delaying our ejaculation, because once you expend that energy out of your body, it takes a while to rebuild it back up. Now, women are more multi-orgasmic by nature. So what we're going to talk about in part 2 is how do we delay our gratification so that the orgasm can be greater. We're talking today about sacred sexuality, and we're going to hit you with part 2. But before we leave tonight, we want to remind you that we got something very, very important. All of this stuff we're talking about tonight about sacred sexuality, we are going to teach in greater detail June 7th through the 9th in a marriage retreat, our Naked and Unashamed marriage retreat, and it's called Love in the Bluff. Love in the Bluff. And babe, tell them what are some things they're going to get in Love in the Bluff.
Oh my gosh, we're going to be talking about, building communication, liberating fantasies, the unveiling communication, fun, and finding about, fantasy, fueling our desires. So all of these things we'll be talking about in addition to having some fun, some rooftop parties, and just being together as couples and being able to share and learn and glean from one another.
We want to scratch out where y'all itching, right? And so here's another thing we need from y'all. We need you to email us after seeing this podcast or listening to this podcast. We need you to email us at drstacylspencer@gmail.com and tell us what are some topics you want us to talk about on this podcast. We want to make sure that we answer your questions. Some of y'all are shy. I notice y'all don't say much in the comments because here's what y'all do, especially Christian folk. You get on here, that was an interesting topic, but I don't want to say nothing because they're going to know who I am. And I don't want nobody. Listen, this is a non-judgmental space. You're safe here. But to make it even safer, email us at drstacylspencer@gmail.com. What topics, what things are you concerned about? What questions do you have? We want to know. And if you have not subscribed to the Naked and Unashamed SLS podcast, what are you waiting on? Subscribe today. Also, lastly, we want to tell you about The Eden Circle. It's a continuity program, a mentoring program for couples. We have about 17 couples now that are in our inner circle, and we have a blast with all of our couples in the Eden Circle. And as a matter of fact, I believe it's next Thursday, we're having our master class with them. We'll do marriage retreats with them. We have a group meet where people will shoot us a question, and we were up the other night to about 10 o'clock.
Yes, just back and forth.
Laughing and cutting up with each other, because 2 things are needed to make your marriage grow. You need a coach. We've been married for 30 years. We've got some life experiences we want to share with you. You need coaches, and you need community. Like I said, there's 17 couples who interact with one another. They're there for one another. They do life with each other. You can't do this by yourself. We want to be there for you. So go to theedencircle.com. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Theedencircle.com. Anything else you want to say to the people?
No, just make sure that you tune in to part 2, because we want you to find out how to have multiple orgasms, okay?
Woo-wee. Y'all ready? Let's go get it, y'all. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next episode.